Edge versus Mick Foley at WrestleMania 22, in my opinion, is the match that stole the show. On a WrestleMania, which necessarily isn't weak, because we had great matches such as the main event between John Cena and Triple H. We had the Money in the Bank ladder match, and also the triple threat between Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle and Randy Orton. All these are really good matches. However, I feel like they fall short in comparison to Edge versus Mick Foley. As far as the story goes between these two, we have Edge looking for recognition. He feels like he's been pulled back from the main event scene, and now he's looking to show the world that he deserves to be up there again. He shouldn't be pulled back. He's got all the attributes of a main eventer. He's got the looks, he's got the intensity, he's got the charisma. He has everything going for him. And to see him get pulled back from the main event, it does feel like a disservice has been done to him. And obviously this resonates with him. He firmly believes that as well. And on the other hand, we have Mick Foley in his story of redemption. The man who has never been given his WrestleMania moment. And it's a shame as well, because obviously all these wrestlers are putting their bodies and their health on the line. However, in the case of Mick Foley, he definitely has taken way more years of his life than the majority of the talent wrestling for WWE at the time. We've all seen the clips of him being thrown off Hell in a Cell, taking a 22-foot drop from the top of the cage down through an announce table. And from just seeing this one clip, you can tell Mick Foley is not here to piss about. He's here to entertain us, and he does not care about what risks he's putting himself through. And as stupid as that might be, I have nothing but respect for him because of this. Now we know the motivations for both Edge and Mick Foley, let's break down the feud that built up to this WrestleMania match, because it is a really entertaining feud. There's definitely parts that I don't remember or even knew that happened. So let's see the build up to the match that stole the show. This feud would start with Edge cashing in his Money in the Bank contract, which he won in a ladder match on WrestleMania 21. He would cash this in on John Cena, who just retained his WWE Championship in an Elimination Chamber match on New Year's Revolution. Cena, after this, would re-invoke his rematch clause against Edge, and they would have this match at Royal Rumble. Now, the match itself isn't too great. It's a bit slow moving. However, one thing about this match, which I never realised, was how cool John Cena's entrance was. Like, considering he's the challenger and not the champion, they went crazy on it. They brought down a whole scaffolding where he would walk along being above the actual ground floor. He would shoot out confetti. The whole crowd was hyped. It was really cool. Arguably the best part about the entire match. So if you're going to watch anything, maybe try and watch the entrance, or I'll put up as much as I can on this video. Going into this match, Edge stated the fact how he did not want to be a transitional champion. And unfortunately, with John Cena beating him at Royal Rumble, he ended up becoming so by tapping out to Cena's STFU. Now, the next night on Raw, they both have another championship match in order for Edge to have the opportunity to perhaps win the belt back. They would have their match on Raw, pretty basic stuff. However, the finish is where things get a bit weird. Cena would get pushed by Edge into the referee, and in typical Edge fashion, whilst the referee's not looking, Edge would give Cena a low blow, and it perhaps might be the deepest low blow I've seen, to where not only is he going once and he has Cena's jewels in the inside of his arm, he would then shove up repeatedly, just absolutely destroying any family tree that Cena might have produced in the future. After giving the low blow, he would spear Cena, but the ref is still down. He can't give the count. So whilst the ref is recuperating, Edge gets Lita to grab the championship belt in order to injure him more. The belt gets brought in, and due to Edge being put in the attitude adjustment, Lita misses with the belt and hits Edge instead. The ref catches this and declares Edge the winner by disqualification, because Edge was the one who got injured by a third party. Next week on Raw, Edge and Lita will come out, basically addressing what happened. Edge would say because he beat John Cena, he's owed another championship match, which has been booked. It's next week's Raw, and there is a special guest referee in place. And for the rest of the show, it's them alluding to who they want to be the special guest referee. Hacksaw Jim Duggan would come out and basically say, I want to be special guest referee. Jim Duggan would call Lita a hoe, so Edge would beat him up with the wooden 2x4 that he brought into the ring as well. Next, we cut to Edge and Lita speaking to Vince McMahon backstage, and Edge is essentially confirming the fact that we're actually having a special guest referee for this upcoming match. Vince says yes, so in order to try and get things into his favour, Edge offers the fact that Lita could be the special guest referee. Vince says she could be a little bit biased. Edge would egg Lita on to sort of feel Vince McMahon up. Now, big parody Vince says to Edge, well look, there is a chance that you can pick who you want to be as a special guest referee. All you got to do is you and Lita in a mixed tag team match beat Maria and John Cena. The winner of this match gets to decide who that referee should be. Edge isn't too happy about this, but he knows that all he has to do is win in order to try and get the championship match in more of his favour. Now, the mixed tag match happens. Lita will get tagged in order to try and attempt a Hurricane Rana on John Cena. She wouldn't hit on Cena, she'll hit on Edge instead. Now, John Cena and Lita are in the ring squaring off, and she proceeds to try and flash him.
Okay.
Edge would come in, try to spear Cena, accidentally spears Lita. Edge would get rolled out the ring. Cena would pin Maria in and get the pinfall on Lita. Now we know that John Cena has the choice in the special guest referee. John Cena would pick Mick Foley to be the special guest referee of the championship match that's to come, and Edge has this look of just sheer horror on his face. So now the championship match is here, and Cena would end up retaining. Edge blames Mick Foley for it, so Lita gives him a low blow, and Edge spears him, and he's left on the floor, cradled up in pain. Next week, Edge and Lita cut a promo, essentially saying that Mick Foley is the reason why he's not champion right now, and he's going to teach Mick Foley a lesson, so he's getting his friend, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, out for a match. Jim comes down for that match with Edge, they have it out, nothing too crazy. Lita would help Edge win by grabbing the feet of Jim Duggan, then Edge would spear and land the pinfall and finish the match. And after this, they get the wooden 2x4 that Jim Duggan has, and Edge proceeds to get it and rides it right up his bollocks. After beating him up, he will proceed to taunt him and then cut a promo saying to Mick Foley that he challenges him to a match at WrestleMania, and he says if he doesn't accept, he will beat him up in his backyard in front of his wife and kids. Next week is now here, and Edge has come out to Raw and is questioning why Mick Foley hasn't responded to his challenge. He's asking him to come down and to accept it or decline it, and presenting 2 airplane tickets to his hometown, in which if he does get declined or Mick Foley doesn't show up, he'll go fly there and beat him up in his backyard in front of his wife and kid. Mick Foley would walk out and essentially say, this is stupid, I didn't cause you to lose the match in the first place against John Cena, you lost that yourself, you choked it. Edge doesn't accept any of this and demands a yes or no from Mick Foley regarding the match at WrestleMania, even after these comments. Mick says no and says he has nothing to prove to Edge. Edge lashes out at this. He says to Mick Foley, you're only known for things that are either stupid or you being hurt in stupid ways. And also he adds on the fact that Mick Foley has never won a WrestleMania match in a standard way, such as like pinfall or submission. He's only won by disqualification, whereas Edge has gone undefeated at every WrestleMania. After this, Mick Foley further says no to a wrestling match at WrestleMania, but opens up the offer of them doing a hardcore match at WrestleMania instead. He would run backstage, grab the Barbie, walk out down to ring, Lita and Edge shit himself, and they run out of the arena, and that's the end of that week. Lita has a match with Maria, in which she wins the match, and by the end of it, Edge tells Lita to bring up Maria so he can spear her. He gets in the corner ready to spear her, and Mick Foley comes on down to ward him off. He gets hit by a spear himself, and now Edge is starting to bring chairs into the ring in order to inflict further damage onto Mick Foley. He also hits him with a concerto as well, and after this, whilst Mick Foley's on the floor, Edge gets up real close with the microphone and says to him that he accepts the challenge for the hardcore match at WrestleMania. We cut to next week, and Edge is having a match being finished up with Gold Dust. Nothing really entertaining happens throughout the match, just a normal match throughout the card. But he gets the microphone after it. He tells Cowboy Carl to shut up. Sorry, Carl. But after this, he reveals the fact that he's got a trailer for us for Mick Foley versus Edge. And I don't know if I'm allowed to share it, but essentially the whole trailer is just clips of Mick Foley getting beaten up, and he's labelled the match the destruction of Mick Foley. He also announces that his talk show, The Cutting Edge, will be back, and Mick Foley will be a guest. The Cutting Edge is now here, and as Edge said last week about this talk show being hardcore for this week, he's put weapons all over the ring to try and bait out Mick Foley. Mick Foley finally comes out. He's got a bag of thumbtacks. Edge's first response to seeing Mick Foley is to douse the table in ring in lighter fluid. And now here is like the first sequence of an actual fighting between Edge and Mick Foley, in which alludes to what we're going to see in the hardcore match at WrestleMania. Mick Foley, with his bag of thumbtacks, starts pouring them out all over the ring. Lita attacks Mick Foley. Edge then face plants Mick Foley into the thumbtacks. And this was I don't want to say like it was hard to watch, but it does make you wince a bit, especially when they get stuck into his face. But he gets it from this. He smiles, which granted, his character is like, oh, I love pain. This doesn't bother me. They would run up to the ramp where Edge and Lita are waiting there with a steel chair. Mick Foley brings his own steel chair. They collide. Mick gets the better of him and then sets him up for a concerto on the ramp, which is cool. Always have a concerto, especially when someone else doing it to Edge. It's always cool to see. And that's about it. I think that's like the last real violent segment we get before the match. And a brief comment on all this. In the promo packages for the WrestleMania match that I've seen, because I used to watch this match on one of the compilations for Edge's matches on DVD, but I don't remember seeing anything about this entire segment. I only found this out whilst doing the video, so I've never seen the clip of this table being set on fire. Only one I've seen is from the actual WrestleMania match itself. I don't know if that's just me, but I'd be interested to know if anyone else has gone through the same thing, because I've never seen this before. We're back on Raw, and Mick Foley says how everything Edge has been saying about him has been true. How he won't get his WrestleMania moment. How he likes to get a cheap pop from the crowd for saying where they live. How he's a big, soft, cuddly teddy bear. And now things have changed. Now he's tasted his own blood. He is now ready for it. Lita comes out to Edge's music, and she comes down to ringside and basically says, Mick, we should call this off. Edge wants it just to be a wrestling match because he's so injured for that concerto. But I need the soft, cuddly, Winnie the Pooh wearing Mick Foley to be here so I can speak to him. Mick Foley calls Lita out on her bullshit and says, I don't believe you. You're down here to try and distract me. And he begs her to slap him. The first time, it's whatever. But he stood in the ring screaming at Lita, asking her to slap him, which is the funniest shit.
Isn't this about the time that you slap me? Rile me up so that Edge can take advantage of me?
Foley's right, look at this!
Edge, of course, comes out to try and get Mick Foley whilst he's distracted. Mick Foley clocks this, sees him, Lita tries to low blow him, Mick Foley catches it, then applies the mandible claw to Lita, whilst Edge is forced there to watch. Now, the final week of build for this feud. Mick Foley comes out down to ringside with two gifts. He leaves one at the ramp and he brings one in the ring with him. The one he has with him is a gift for Lita and it's flowers. This being his way of him trying to apologise for what happened last week to Lita. And then he calls Edge out for him to open his present in which he left on the ramp. Edge comes out and says, I shouldn't open this could be a trap. Why should I believe you? And Mick Foley says, you shouldn't believe me, that could be a trap. But regardless, it's for you and it's something you can use in this match. They have a back and forth and Mick Foley just goes to say how he wants Edge to experience horrific things in their match at WrestleMania. He wants him to hear the blood drip from his head onto the canvas. He wants to hear his skin being teared. He wants to hear kids at ringside cry and be traumatised from what they're seeing. And after this, Edge gets fed up, he opens up the present. and it's a baseball bat. He runs to Mick Foley with this baseball bat, and Mick Foley pulls out his own, but it's covered in barbed wire. They have a little back and forth, but ultimately Mick Foley could not get a hit on Edge. Edge flees, and now it's for the match at WrestleMania 22. We're now here at the match itself. Edge and Lita are the first ones to walk out, and Edge carrying the baseball bat in which he was gifted from Mick Foley. Now we have Mick Foley walking down. He doesn't have a weapon, unlike Edge, but he's suited up, the hair's all wet, he's got the arm wraps on, he's ready to throw down. And the excitement that I had for the first time watching this, years and years ago, you see the looks on both Edge and Mick Foley, and like the expressions they pull, I really believed that these are two guys who wanted to go in there and just ruin each other's lives. Now, from this point on, I'm just going to point out the more memorable things in the match, spots you already know of, things of that nature, but regardless of what I say, if you have not watched this match, you are doing yourself a disservice. This is one of the most fun matches to rewatch. One of the common critiques of it is that it is a bit of a spot fest. This hardcore match is something like we didn't really see in WWE. Sure, there was a lot more of it in ECW. However, for WWE only fans, this was insane. After a standard back and forth, the first weapon gets put into play, and it's a cookie sheet. Now, obviously this won't do too much damage, but I love the sound that this makes. When Edge wraps it around Mick Foley's face, it's almost ASMR-esque in a really weird way. Now we get one of my favourite moments of the match. I think in regards to his creativity, I think it's really cool. It's something that I can't say I've seen before. But Edge readies Mick Foley up for a spear. He's down on the floor, he's groveling to get back up. Edge is sat in this corner waiting for him. He hits the spear, and Mick Foley has wrapped his torso in barbed wire, which you can see from Edge's reaction when he first hits this. He's selling it well. He looks like he's in so much pain, and Mick Foley pulls it out, uses wire cutters to get it off his stomach, and then he'll lash it on the back of Edge whilst he's crawling around ring. Back ringside now, and this is more of an honourable mention, but Edge delivers a hip toss to Mick Foley on like the corner of the steps, and it made me wince. Normally, like, not too many moves do that, but this one, I don't know. I can imagine it feeling really, really awful to take. And yet again, Mick Foley's out here taking them, so kudos to him. Now Edge finally has his hands on the barbed wire baseball bat, and he starts using it to inflict damage on Mick Foley. There's a cool part here. I'm not sure if Mick Foley bladed beforehand or he was already cut, but there's a part where Edge wraps around the face of Mick Foley, and as soon as he hits the ground and sits back up, without like taking too long on the ground, like it's literally like instantaneous. Blood is just gushing out of him. Now we have thumbtacks introduced. They're laying all out in ring, and Mick Foley delivers a backdrop to Edge on these thumbtacks, in which he takes the brunt of them himself. But the way Edge sells this, granted, I can't imagine it being too hard to sell the fact you're in pain from taking this. However, Edge's reaction to it is great. He's sat there, he's shaking, he's got blood coming out of him, he looks terrified, and I think in previous Mick Foley matches that I love, such as the ones of Triple H, the ones with Randy Orton, the way Edge sells these ones genuinely makes me believe that he is terrified and he wants to end this match right now and get back home. Now we have Mick Foley stood up in the ring, donning the crimson mask, and he now pulls out Socko. He wraps Socko in barbed wire, he delivers the mandible claw to Edge, Lita runs in, he delivers it to her. Now we have Mick Foley on offense with the Barbie. He delivers a shot to the sternum, he delivers another one to the face of him. Instantly, blood is just pouring out of it whilst he's on the ground. And give it a few seconds, Foley gets back up and he delivers an elbow drop, but instead of the elbow being the main point of contact, it's the Barbie, and he delivers that to him. We next cut to Mick Foley positioning Edge on the ropes and grating the Barbie against his face. Now, after leaving Edge on the floor, Mick Foley will start getting the lighter fluid and start pouring it all over the table whilst been left out at ringside for the good majority of the match. After he does this, Lita gets the Barbie and hits him square on in the balls, and it knocks him down for a bit, understandably. Lita will carry on lighting this table and then lights it herself, and then takes us into the most infamous spot of the match, where Edge spears Mick Foley through the flaming table. After he recovers from the spear, he has to almost drag himself along the floor whilst he's shaking. He can't look straight, his eyes are darting everywhere, whereas Mick Foley just passed out on the floor covered in blood, and Edge acquires a pinfall on him, and that's the match. This match is just so fun to watch this match over again and not feel bored watching it. It is just a great time, and both wrestlers benefited from it, and it's almost like really wholesome to an extent, because the whole goal was for Mick Foley to get his WrestleMania moment, which he definitely did, and Edge being able to prove himself that he is a main eventer, and him being brought back any further than that is a disregard to how good he actually is. Ultimately, now the match is said and done, I think they both achieved what they wanted to. With Edge in his journey of recognition and Mick Foley in his journey of redemption, they collided, they put on a great feud, an amazing match, and I truly believe that it was the match that stole the show at WrestleMania 22. To anyone still listening at this point, I want to thank you. This is my first video. I had a lot of issues trying to figure out how to structure it, what to say, so it was a huge learning experience, but ultimately I had a great time making this, watching the feud from start to finish. But if you're here, I want to say thank you. I want to say consider subscribing, because I want to put out more videos like this. I just want to vent what I love about professional wrestling and put it in a nice condensed package to where someone can just watch it and consume all the good things about that, and the bad as well, if there is any. But yeah, that's all I need to say for now. You've been hearing me for the past half an hour. I'm going to let you go. Enjoy your day. Hopefully, I'll see you very soon. Take care.